you guys know, has always been the dirty heart of this whole scandal here, really has to do with federal corruption here. Okay, that's a huge part of this case here, and you can't separate it from the way that Karen and her team was able to play the U.S. Attorney's Office, which clearly, to put it the way Hank did, threw their thumbs on the scale or something. I think that's the way he put it. They chose sides, I think is the way that he put it. And they had, by this January, the feds, it had been almost a year. The last time somebody had testified before the federal grand jury was on February 1st of the year before, and that was Michael Proctor. That came at the very end of the investigation, and they did nothing else. Now, Josh Levy, the U.S. attorney, was removed because we had a change of administration, and in the interim, Josh Levy appointed, her name was Mary B. Moraine. So she became the acting U.S. attorney at that time. And Karen's team reached out to her and said, what's the status of the investigation? Now, if anybody knows what's been going on, if you followed this the year before, the feds can ignore you when they want to. And that's generally what they were doing. Judge Canoni kept asking, please send someone to court and tell us what's going on. And they just utterly ignored her. But here they chose not to. Why? Because they wanted to help Karen out. So they did a teleconference call because they have to inform both sides, with the Norfolk County DA's office and with Karen's team, to explain to them that the investigation was ongoing. And that enabled David Yannetti this past January or early February, I think it was in late January, to go into court and say, yes, we have information fresh from the U.S. Attorney's Office that this investigation into the corrupt investigation by the Norfolk County DA's office is ongoing. And that's what he said. All right, so then what happened was we finally get the new U.S. attorney appointed by Trump, and her name was Leah Foley. Now, I think she's in a very difficult place right now, because now she comes into an office that is overrun with Josh Levy lackeys. And one of them is the acting U.S. attorney, clearly, at the time, was this Mary B. Moraine. So what I wanted to find out was what happened. So what we know is Mary got forced to resign. So when Leah Foley came in, she took a look at this and said, this whole thing is bullshit. We know that. I know this from sources from behind the scene. She said, this whole thing is bullshit. So she ended it. And she reached out by the third week of February, she reached out to her sources on Canton Police. Not her sources. She reached out to the chief of Canton Police. She reached out to the state police, and she reached out to the Norfolk County DA's office to say that the investigation was over in all aspects and that there would be no charges. Now, she was trying to do things by the book. She later kind of explained in a press conference where I think it was Ted Daniels that asked her some questions. And she said, look, I can't comment. That's not how we do things. That's against DOJ policy. We're not going to hold a press conference. What I can say is we reached out to our partners, is the way she put it, in law enforcement. And then right around that time, we found out that the acting U.S. attorney, who once Leah Foley came in, the acting U.S. attorney became the first assistant U.S. attorney, which is second in command. But she was forced to resign. Where did she go? What happened to her? Well, she went to work for the DOJ in Washington, which is just amazing. And I'm told by my sources in the FBI that this is unprecedented. This is very unusual. I shouldn't say unprecedented, that part, but it's very, very unusual. So her escape hatch was to go to Washington. So now Leah Foley still has many of Josh Levy's lackeys still in place surrounding her in the office. And she has his lackeys in the DOJ in Washington. That's what she's up against as she tries to expose the wrongdoing. What we know is wrongdoing went on here. So sorry about that long-winded rant. I know your son likes it when I rant.
Yeah, my son loves it when you rant. He doesn't like it when I rant. He likes it when you rant.
Yeah, of course not.
No, that's very interesting, Kevin. It's not a rant. It was very good. It's fascinating, really.
I mean, as a former prosecutor, what do you think? Do you have any reaction to that? Does it stun you?
Yeah, something's going on behind the scenes there. Clearly, you nailed it with that. That explanation of what's going on. But I think that she's going to be in Washington now to watch out for Levy. Of course, you got it right. You nailed it.
And we got to find out just how did she get that job? Was she pushed out and they gave her that as a parachute so she could get her pension, or did she have connections to get that job? And don't think it, from what it sounds like, Leah Foley was pretty upset about what went on there. So I don't think Leah Foley was the one that pushed her to Washington. I think that she had her own connections there. And I
Yeah,
think I smell the fingerprints of Josh Levy.
I do too. Yeah, you're 100% right.
Very
That's
connected guy. So
crazy.
hopefully we'll find out. I thought that we might find out that she went and took a job at Ropes and Gray, where
Yeah.
he's a partner, and we went back to, but not yet. That's probably what her future holds. But for now, he needs somebody in Washington to help making sure the skeletons stay buried.
Yeah. Oh my God. And by the way, for many years, many years, Ropes and Gray has been a feeder for the U.S. Attorney's Office and vice versa. So there's a
Right.
little connection there.
Right. Rachel Rollins had
Yeah.
told me that it was like 30 to 40% revolving door, where 34% of the employees at the U.S. Attorney's Office had once worked at Ropes and Gray. But it's hard
Yeah.
to rely on Rachel, because Rachel is the one that also did an interview with Alan Jackson's specially selected reporter at Vanity Fair, someone who disgustingly puts out misinformation, one-sided information for Karen. She does a report with him to imply that the federal investigation might still be ongoing, which is absolutely untrue. And it was
Right.
more recently confirmed by the feds in court that it's not going on, because what's happened is any other, and you're going to talk about Proctor in a moment.
Yeah.
Any other case that naturally, any other case where Proctor was one of the investigators on, those defense attorneys are trying to use that as ammunition to help their own defense for their own client. So they're trying to call in all of that evidence, and the feds sent in information to say, no, nothing was found there, and that investigation is over. They didn't say nothing was found. I apologize. They said that investigation is over, is what they said.
Yep.
So, so what did you hear? What happened with the hearing today on Michael Proctor?
Okay, so first of all, we all know Michael Proctor was fired from the Massachusetts State Police. There was a trial board hearing that lasted for several days. He was fired. So the board concluded that he sent derogatory, defamatory, disparaging, and inappropriate text messages about a suspect in an investigation. Of course, that's Karen Reed. The board also found that Proctor drank alcohol before driving his police cruiser. Now, he wasn't intoxicated, but still, that's against the policy. So now he is before the Civil Service Commission. It's an independent body, an agency that reviews any disciplinary action in the state and in the local government. And it is, we don't have a jury here. It's kind of like we have one judge. So there's one member of the Massachusetts Civil Service Commission, and she presides over this hearing that went on today and will be going on. They have several days for it. And her name is Angeli McConney. And she is one of a total of 5 members of the commission. Now, so the full commission is 5 members, but a single commissioner is responsible for hearing the evidence and the arguments in an individual appeal like Proctor is doing now. So it's interesting in that it's set up very similar to a district court case where you have one judge presiding, and it's Trooper Proctor is appealing from the firing by the Massachusetts State Police. So and of course it had everything to do with the Karen Reed investigation. So what happens is each side presented opening statements, just like in a trial, and they were 15 minutes long. And let's see. 15-minute openings. Hold on. Both sides will be calling witnesses, and they're allowed to cross-examine the opposing side's witnesses. And today, the one witness that testified was Massachusetts State Police Lieutenant Kevin Dwyer. And he is for the state police. He's arguing in favor of the firing. And in his 15-minute opening statements, he described, Proctor's bad conduct and the fact that, he sent inappropriate text messages about Karen Reed and full of expletives. Yeah, we all know that. So, so Dwyer was on the stand, and he testified. He was the one originally who investigated all of this. And he testified about his findings in the investigation. Also, they had evidence just like any other trial. Video clips were played of Proctor testifying during Reed's first trial, and also clips where he underwent intense cross-examination. And it's really interesting going back to the opening statements, what the state police did was they showed in Proctor's own words that he felt that he was, what he did was wrong and disgusting, and he was apologizing. But now in cross-examination, Proctor's represented by Daniel Monahan. That's his lawyer in these proceedings. And he brought about a few things up. He said, listen, even though he was not intoxicated when he drove his police car, and he also cross-examined Dwyer, and he said, is this the first time that you've gotten into, or you had an investigation on someone's personal cell phone, like a police officer's a trooper's personal cell phone? He said, yes, this is the very first time. So Monahan is saying, listen, this whole thing is a witch hunt. And of course, we all know, going back to the federal investigation, that's how they got Proctor's phone in the first place. So they're basically saying, this poor guy, Proctor, he's the subject of this political pressure coming from above and a witch hunt. And it's an extraordinary circumstances, therefore he should get his job back. That'll keep going on tomorrow, and the hearing will last for a while.
So so we'll skip the Kohlberger stuff, and you can finish up on the Proctor, though. Erin doesn't mind waiting a few minutes. And what we'll do is, so you're saying that this basically goes like a trial. Yeah. So first the state brings up their witnesses, and then while that's going on, Proctor's lawyer gets to cross-examine them. And then presumably, I don't know if tomorrow or when in the future, Proctor will get to bring up his own witnesses. And the crux of the argument here is that kind of like evidence that was improperly obtained, right? So if you have, there's evidence that potentially could be the basis of firing him, yet that evidence was possibly improperly obtained by the feds, right? Or at least it was uniquely obtained.
It's uniquely obtained. I don't know if it was improperly obtained by the feds, but the idea is, it's almost appealing to the commissioner, saying, this guy, like, behind the lines of this is, he's trying to say, this is the only trooper in history whose personal cell phone was discovered. Think of it, what could possibly be on all these other personal cell phones of police across the state and troopers across the state. So that's really the crux of it. And then he's the victim here. I personally do not think that he's going to win this argument. I do not think he'll get his job back. Now, if he does lose before the Civil Service Commission, before this commissioner, and the 5 people on the commission can ultimately decide that decision, because it's an agency decision, which I taught agency law at BC, that then can be appealed to the courts. So that's interesting as well.
And I know part of the other issue, Margaret, is that Proctor wants to get, and they don't have it, the evidence that was used by the feds in order to get the warrant to get his phone, to get the private contents of his phone. And to this point, my understanding is that the U.S. Attorney's Office, and they didn't just use this for Michael Proctor, they used this for multiple, at least 7 or 8 private citizens who were in the house. And they used presumably the same arguments in their affidavits in order to get those warrants. And they're fighting tooth and nail. This is what goes back to what I was saying at the beginning about how this is something that, if you're a Josh Levy loyalist, of which there's still many in that office, they don't want that stuff released, because what we're going to find out is they had nothing. They used something very flimsy in order to violate the privacy of these people. Now, you may think that, not you, but I mean, people may think that it's a different standard with Michael Proctor because he's a trooper, and they probably I could buy into that. But it's still ultimately the same thing, is the feds need to, if they're going to come clean, and we all know the feds don't really have an interest. Nobody really has an interest in coming clean when you do something wrong. And certainly the feds feel like they're above everybody else with the supremacy clause. They don't have to do what they don't have to do. And so they are going to fight tooth and nail, not to release this affidavit, which is going to be embarrassing to him, or to delay the release of it. So it's so far down the road. Hopefully, everybody's forgotten and looking somewhere else, and it'll all come out in some page 17 part of the globe, and nobody sees it, and and we've all long moved on to some other case. So
I don't know. Hey, by the way, I don't know if we should ignore. My son last night said, "Mom, you guys ignored Koberger." So he was yelling at me because I was the one that I was tired. I have to admit. I was like, "Oh, we'll save Koberger." Koberger's pretty quick. I just did a quick one. Can I squeeze it in?
Why don't we come back to it when Erin's done, or even if Erin is still with us, we'll see how long it takes, because she's waiting in the wings. And there's actually a lot of good stuff, because I want to play the body cam footage.
Oh yeah.
So we'll take a little time. And there was just a new report that came out today about neighbors at the school, students reporting that somebody was tapping at their window around the time that Koberger. So what weird stuff was going on in there?
Oh yeah, there's a bunch of stuff. Yeah, so we can have it as a teaser. Maybe what we do is we have the Koberger thing as a teaser, like forever.
Yeah.
We'll get to Koberger, but then everybody will hate us, especially my son.
We already enough people hate us, so well, it's on the FKR side, but let's bring in Erin, and I think we'll have time, and Erin, we'll keep Erin with us. I'm sure she's followed the Koberger case too, so we'll go into that when Erin finishes up her presentation, and let's bring in, before we bring in Erin, let's bring in
I love it.
All right, let's see what Erin thinks of our new intro there. Let me bring in my old friend, Erin. Erin, hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
What do you think of our new little intro thing that I had made up there?
Oh, I love it. I love it. It's so profesh.
Hi, Erin.
Hey, Margaret. Nice to meet you.
Have you guys met? Yeah. Erin, this is my good friend, Margaret McLean. Have you guys met?
No,
Hi,
no,
Erin. Nice to officially meet you. I've heard a lot of great things about you, though, through Kevin. So I'm very excited to talk about Molly Bish.
Oh yeah, I dug deep on this one for a long time. So I'm glad to finally get the opportunity to bring it out on someone's channel with more than 200 followers. So yeah.
I did make a slideshow, Erin, and towards the end of it, it shows the suspects. And then I also downloaded 3 of your videos. So if you want me, just let me know, and I'll just bump them right in. One of them, I think, is from the parking lot. Another one's from the trail. But there were 3 that I brought in, and I may play them a little bit in the background, or I'll play them when you ask me to pull them in. So let me just put.
However you want to do it.
Unfortunately, this came out like this. I didn't even realize this till now that we kind of lost part of her face. So. I mean, this is very hard for us. This is one of the reasons that I had a hard time. I really didn't want to go into true crime as a genre for me to explore, because just this kid should be living her life now. How old would Molly be now?
She would be 42. She was actually born 17 days before me.
I mean, she should have her own family, or whatever she wanted to do with her life, whatever she, was going to be. What did she want to be when she grew up? Did you ever find that out?
No, I wasn't. I mean, I know a lot about her. Her sister says that she said in an interview a while back that she thought that Molly would have become a teacher.
Okay.
She was great with kids. She loved kids. She loved teaching them things. So it seemed like a natural thing for her. Obviously, we don't know, but it seems like that's what her family thinks from what I've seen in interviews and things. Yeah.
It's just terrible to think that all those lost years that she could have been living a life. I just think about the things that I did in between the age of, how old was Molly when she was abducted?
16.
16. So between the age of 16 and 42, she'd now be 42. All the fun things and the rewarding things that she could have done. She could have been out like Margaret on the adventures on the high seas, harpooning fish and harpooning tuna, and I mean, it's just terrible to think what this guy did to take away all this from her. All right, so you can begin anytime, and I'll just throw up some pictures in the background. You can stop anytime. This is, I guess, is this where she was taken, or where she was found?
That's it's so where she was found is an area called Whiskey Hill. which is up on the Palmer Warren Ware line. And Whiskey Hill is actually a super, super, super steep hill. She was found on the steep hill, but this is actually what you can see on the roadside of the only road that goes over that area, the only public road. I parked my car at the Sportsman's Club across the road and walked it.
In fact, another thing, Erin, if you give me any kind of an address to pull up, like on Google, as to where she was abducted or I can do that for you too. So just let me know.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have that stuff memorized.
Yeah, it's I believe it's just Comans Pond Road in Warren, Mass. I think that's the name of the road. But if you just look up Comans Pond, you should be able to find it.
I got it, and it's a winter shot of it. Let me pull it up and give me it. Comans Pond, winter, got it. Getting a little faster at this, but the program only allows so much speed.
Oh yeah.
All right, so there it is right there. It looks like it's a winter shot when it's frozen. Do you know where along this?
I believe it's that top edge right there.
So that looks like a beach right there, right?
Yeah. Yep. That's
where
it.
the beach is.
Yep. So there's the cemetery right at the top corner there.
And that looks like a dam right there.
It's like there's a little footbridge over that. Actually, for the video that I sent you, you'll be able to sort of walk it virtually, but there's like a tiny waterfall right there.
Yeah.
I want to say there was some logging there, but I may have that mixed up with.
I think it was had industrial uses, perhaps back in the 1800s. It had industrial uses.
Yeah.
When they would build a pond in order to power the plant, and then once electricity was invented, that became unnecessary. So here's the beach right here. You're saying, right?
Yep.
And so was this a popular spot? I guess it was popular enough that they employed her as a lifeguard.
Yeah. It's town residents only for swimming. And back then, I don't know if they still do it, because every time I've been there, it's been pretty deserted. But they did swimming lessons at Comans Pond for little kids. So,
all right. So take us back to that day when things happened that day, and give us the date if you could. And
it was June. Let's see. Yeah, it was June 27th, 2000. All right. Was the day
2000. It was okay. All right.
Yeah. So we're going on 25 years this year.
So 7 years after Holly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. That's what they thought.
Margaret, I'm excited to pick your brain a little bit about any possible connections that you see.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's possible because it wasn't that far apart, really, as far as the location.
No, location-wise, it's really close.
And there are a lot of similarities as well, like the body found in a wooded area. I think is another one.
Frequented by hunters. Yeah. Yep. So yeah, I mean, I can just get into a little sort of background on Molly and about the day and going through her recovery and sort of the people that are most likely suspects for this.
And just to give, so I just it went a little higher on the Google thing, and straight south is to get to Brimfield, which is where Holly's body was found.
Yeah, right.
A straight line south from there.
That's interesting.
To get there, and you see Sturbridge right here. That's where that's where Holly was from, but over here a little bit more is where she was taken.
No, she was from Grafton.
I'm sorry, you're right. She was from Grafton, and she went missing in
Sturbridge.
It was Sturbridge. Okay, right. So right there. So yeah, you're right. These areas are all very, very close. Very close.
It's very, very tight knit over there. Yeah.
So go ahead.
I mean, there's a lot of woods. There's a lot of lakes. There's a lot of trails, but not a lot of people.
Right.
Which is a big thing. So, I guess, okay. I mean, I can just kind of go into some facts and just interrupt me if I ramble, I guess, because I do that. Okay, so Molly Bish was born August 2nd, 1983. So she would be 42 today. And she had just finished her junior year of high school in June of 2000. And she got a job as the lifeguard at Coman's Pond. Actually, she sort of inherited the position from her older brother, John. So he was the one who trained her on how to do the job, what the procedure was as far as getting the police radio in the morning. Because if you remember, this is sort of a little bit in the infancy of the cell phone times. There still isn't any way at the pond itself to really communicate. So you need something handheld if you need emergency services. So the procedure was every morning before she would show up at the pond, her mom, Maggie, would drive her to the Warren Police Department where she would pick up a police radio and bring that with her to the beach.
That's really interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I never knew that either.
Yeah. Which begs the question to me. I mean, she had a police radio, so obviously whatever happened, it must have been quick, and she may not have had time to think like, oh, I should grab that. Or
was that radio found?
Yeah, it was in her backpack.
Oh, she never
all of her stuff.
Oh.
Yeah. So
wow.
She was actually running a little bit late that morning. So she showed up actually at she was supposed to be there at 10 o'clock, and she got there at 9:56. Usually she's there, or 9:58. Usually she was there 10 or 15 minutes early, but they were running a little bit late because a friend of hers had actually been in a car accident the night before. She had had a little trouble sleeping. There was a little bit of drama going on with calls from friends and the like. So she was a little late, but she was still there on time. She picked up a couple bottles of water at a gas station down the street around 9:50, which is verified by security footage. She picked up the radio and she was there and ready to go at 10 o'clock. So she's got her towel, she's got her backpack, she's got her bottles of water and her police radio and all of that stuff. Now, I know that you've seen the pictures. It was one of the picture of the actual lifeguard stand. You've seen it.
Yeah. Let me pull that up for you.
There wasn't a lifeguard chair. She had a folding chair. So her stuff was actually set up with a folding chair. Yeah, you can see the big white lifeguard chair. That's there now. It was not back then.
Interesting.
There was no lifeguard chair back then. Oh, nope. Okay. I didn't know that.
It was just a folding beach chair. She had her towel on the back of it. Her backpack was there. Her shoes were there, and her bottle of water was there. But in between her arrival at work around 9:58 and the time that the first family showed up for swimming lessons that were supposed to begin that morning, between 10:15 and 10:20, reports differ, but I mean, within that 20-minute period, Molly vanished. Absolutely straight up, no trace of her, vanished. And it was a local mom that showed up with her kids for the swimming lessons, noticed the lifeguard station was set up, but that Molly wasn't there. She took note of Molly's things, the whistle particularly as well. I forgot to mention that. She, of course, is a lifeguard. She has a whistle. Her sandals are there. Sorry, her backpack is there. Her water is there. And an open first aid kit was next to the chair on the ground. So that is all. That's what this lady found when she showed up. Um, there's allegations that this woman or another one of the parents that showed up early saw what they observed as a swath-like pattern on the hill behind the beach, in the sand and the pine needles. I've not been able to verify that statement, so obviously I can't say it's true that this person saw that, but it is something I found in my research. So around 11 o'clock, one of the parents that was at the beach got in touch with Ed Fett, who was the parks commissioner for Warren, so Molly's boss, to let him know that Molly wasn't at the lifeguard station. So already we're looking at least 40 minutes where she's gone and there's no trace of her and no one is contacting someone to let them know. Ed showed up at the pond a little while later, went through all her stuff, so his fingerprints are all over everything. So there's the second way that the integrity of the crime scene was screwed up. The first way was having God knows how many parents and children traipsing through there, rifling through things, footprints, all of that, just traipsing all over a potential crime scene. I mean, obviously they had no way of knowing that. So
just a quick question. You may not know the answer to this, but looking at this photo here where the current lifeguard seat is, do you know if that's where she used to put her chair? Or
I think it was a little further down.
Further down. Because I mean,
yeah,
someone could sneak up on you from the woods there, I mean,
yes.
the way it is there.
Yes.
And then not to interrupt,
I can show you.
was there any speculation about that first aid kit being open? You wonder if somebody said, "Hey, I cut my foot. I need a Band-Aid," and she opened it, and that's
right.
when.
Good question.
That's one of the going theories. Is that somebody came to her saying that someone needed medical assistance quickly, and she, just grabbed what she needed and ran after them to help.
Yeah.
Because
where was the kit? Where was the medical kit found again?
Next to her chair.
Right next to the chair. So she didn't walk off with the kit. All right.
No,
unless he put it back. But yeah,
just there. Yeah.
Right.
On the ground next to the chair, next to the two-way radio.
Right. Okay.
So there's already a lot wrong here. I mean, obviously a 16-year-old who's supposed to be somewhere and is not is something wrong, but there's people walking through potential footprints that should have been preserved. Obviously they would have no way of knowing that, but there's that. And then you have her boss rifling through her backpack, getting fingerprints, just
because he's not thinking about evidence, and obviously that's not his training anyways. He's thinking save her. He's thinking let's save this, let's find this girl and save this girl, which is the right thing to be thinking.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he's probably thinking, what the hell's going on? Did she drown? Did she just take off with her friends? Like, what did teenagers do?
Right.
And he actually used the two-way radio around 11:45 to let the police know that Molly was missing. So we've got over almost 2 hours where she's unaccounted for and the authorities were not informed yet.
What do you think about that? Do you think that's long?
Oh, that's too long. That's way too long. But I also think that there's no good way to I don't think there's a best case scenario in this instance though. I mean, you show up at the beach with your kid to go to swimming lessons, you don't see the lifeguard there, you don't automatically assume, oh, she's been abducted or something awful happened. You might think, oh, maybe she had to go to the bathroom and she went in the woods to get some privacy, or maybe she forgot something in the parking lot and we just missed her coming over, or she'll be right back, I'm sure. Things like that. You don't want to assume something awful happened.
Right.
So, and then I think when her boss showed up at 11, and saw that she wasn't there, saw that she hadn't been there, I feel like that 45 minutes that went by between the time that he got there and the time that he called the police probably should not have been 45 minutes, especially if there was any concern whatsoever about her drowning. There should not be 45 minutes in between saying, oh, I guess she's not here, and calling the cops and saying, we've got a missing kid. And adding to that, by the way, Ed, the boss, at some point between noon and later in the afternoon, ran into Molly's older brother at the hardware store and didn't even mention that Molly was missing. So obviously it wasn't, the worst case scenario isn't really occurring to anyone, including
definitely not
in the early hours.
Definitely not.
The police showed up about a half hour later at 12:15, and they didn't even inform Molly's family until 1 p.m. that she was missing. So now we're going on 3 hours.
If Molly had screamed out for help or made any kind of a loud noise like that, was there anything or anyone in the area that might have heard, that could have even potentially heard? How isolated is that? Is there?
It's isolated. I'm not gonna lie. It's isolated. It's pretty far off the beaten path, and there's no real beaten path in Warren. It's very sparsely populated, but there are houses not very close. There's houses on the road that goes to the pond, and there's, the footpath I was telling you about. It goes up to the cemetery. There's houses around the cemetery as well, but the way that the geography is there, where it comes out to the cemetery, it's at the base of a hill. So it's possible that if she made noise, and there were reports early on that someone heard a scream. There's no indication from any of my research as to who reported hearing it. So the information is sparse, and it's kind of hard to put together all the dots. I had Heather, Molly's older sister, actually help me with fact checking a lot of the information that I have. There you go. So that's where the footpath ends, from Coman's Pond, where it abuts the cemetery up behind it. And that, I think, is maybe like a 1 to 2 minute walk. I was doing it slowly, so my camera wasn't all over the place, but apparently my camera is still all over the place. But this any neighbors that live there too, they would have been used to hearing a lot of screaming, because it's a place where kids are playing and stuff like that. So exactly. So it's kind of it's not the greatest footage. Like, I'm obviously kind of a garbage videographer, but
it's good. I think it's pretty good. Yeah.
At least you didn't fall in the pond for this one.
I know.
At least you didn't fall in the pond for this one, right, Erin?
Fair. Although I almost
first time I met Erin was on a video shoot with us where she fell into a river.
I did. I needed a new phone after that one.
I bet.
But I got the picture that you guys were looking for, so there you go. But this is essentially, you can actually start to see the pond from here. Very faintly.
Yeah, you can see it. Yep, you can see it. I can see it on mine.
I want to say it was spring when I did this, maybe early.
So you're walking towards the
back to the beach.
The beach at this point. Okay, all right.
So I had
you're going from the parking lot towards the beach.
No, this was from the cemetery, and then I started walking up one of the other paths, actually. So this is a different.
Were you scared?
I and went the other way on this one.
Was it creepy being out there in the woods like that?
It is.
With knowing that she noticed
too, when I was out there, and you can see it in some of this footage, there's a lot of ATV tracks, because that's a big thing out in that area is ATVs, and these trails are not just used for walking. People ride their
Right.
bikes there. People ride their
that's always
ATVs
fun.
there.
So
I think that's the same
I'm
one.
gonna go back down and go.
Yeah, sorry.
And there's
Pull
the
up the other
narration.
one.
Ew.
Pull up the next one.
Yeah, I think it's 549, Kev. That's
Okay,
the walk
I'll
from
do
the
that.
parking lot.
This is I just got 5.8.
path.
This is 5.8.
You
Hold on
can
a
see the
second.
beach right down there. I could not film.
It's
Well, it
it's
was-
not getting up the. I can't mute them. Oh, there we go.
Blindness.
It's sometimes the computer gets
PBS
buggy.
footpath.
Uh-oh.
So I've got it on mute and it's still playing it.
But
Oh,
this
God.
caught my attention.
There we go. It should be muted there.
I don't know
Oh,
what's
I guess
going
not.
on here, but
Oh my god.
Yeah.
isolated.
Oh, I think you're playing
Yes.
like 2 videos at the same time too.
I am willing to bet.
It's slow, and you're trying to load these on here, and it gets the
It's
more you
someone's
load on, it gets
screen.
buggy. Sorry about that, guys.
That's okay.
It sounded like it dampened
And it won't let me move anything now.
by the trees here, and it probably didn't carry that far.
I'm sorry. It's frozen.
Really morbid thought, but I locked my car first.
I don't even know how to close it.
Yeah, maybe.
Because when your screen is
It's
largely
trying-
frozen, it won't let you move, so I can't like
Oh,
do
God.
anything. You
Show,
know?
right? There we go.
Ugh.
All right.
All right, I got one out.
Let's see what we see.
Oh yeah, okay.
All right. So we wanted to pull up 4. Is it 4.9 that we wanted to pull up?
549 was the one from the parking lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Just to give people a sense of just how removed. Yeah, there you go. Hooray.
Okay.
So this is the view from the parking lot. You could actually see my car. I don't know how different this looked in 2000, but I can't imagine it looked much different. 'Cause
Right.
There's not much happening here.
Right.
So
So this is you're walking. So this is where you park and you walk to the beach.
Yep. So
All
this
right,
is the
good,
walk
good.
that Molly would have
And so-
taken to get to where
And
she
not
set
now
herself.
is there anywhere else? So if the killer would he have to park in that parking lot, or is there somewhere else he could park? Did
No,
he
he
have
could
to
have
take her
parked in
through
the
this?
cemetery.
He could have parked
and
in the
come down
cemetery.
the
So there's
footpath.
basically are those the two places he could have parked, either in the cemetery or in the parking lot,
Yeah.
or is there nowhere
I'm
else?
willing to bet it's one or the other. And I don't
So
think
he
he's
either
in the parking lot.
So he either dragged her fighting or unconscious, which is extremely risky because especially you're going towards the parking lot. And I would imagine even some people probably that go to visit the beach probably park in the cemetery, right?
I would think if the parking lot's full, it's a very small lot. There's probably 5 spots, and it's
so
gravel.
to drag
There's
somebody
not
drag
much.
somebody unconscious or even to take somebody through there as a prisoner, like by force, very, very risky to take someone this kind of distance when you know it's at a time where people could be showing up at the beach.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
I agree. I was thinking of that too. It would be very risky because
Yeah.
at least in that footage, it doesn't look like there's that much undergrowth in the woods there either.
Not right where I was showing the camera now.
Oh.
I think the cemetery is more likely
Yeah.
to Jeff. I do. So do you? Well, I'll wait a minute.
All right. So you know what I take from that? Then if a local would know whether people in the morning park at the cemetery.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a local.
I don't know
Almost
if it would be someone local, but it's definitely someone familiar with the area.
Definitely someone. And who else but locals would be familiar with the area?
I mean, someone who visits often, either like has somebody that they see all the time that lives there, or
Right.
you know,
Right.
someone who frequents the area for hunting or fishing or swimming. So see these benches here. This
Mhm.
is more the area where she would have set up her chair.
Okay. So her back definitely would be to the woods, but I mean, it's still pretty hard to sneak up on someone from the woods.
Yes.
You're gonna be making a lot of noises, walking on needles and stuff like that.
There's a lot of duff there. Yeah.
I'm definitely confounded by how difficult it would be to get someone back to their vehicle.
Well, again, I think the biggest clue there is that open first aid kit. Why would you get to your, so there's no
So you
kids
trick someone.
needing a Band-Aid. Yeah. I mean, it's like, it's actually very similar to what Bundy used to do. Pretend he had a broken leg and needed help.
Oh yeah.
That would
That's
be
the
my guess here. Yeah. There's a
Right.
parallel right there.
Right. And there's
Because
always using a trick with little kids. They're like, where's my lost dog or something like that. you
yeah,
know?
exactly. And there would be no reason to open that medical kit because no little kids had gotten there yet. So
Right.
I think, that he must have said, somebody needs help, or I don't know what would be in a medical kit. Maybe some Band-Aids. My wife cut her toe. She's right over here. Can you bring a Band-Aid? Do you have a Band-Aid? Yes. She follows him with the Band-Aids. And then he put chloroform over her mouth.
Yeah.
I wonder if anything was missing from that medical kit.
I've never been able to find out.
Right.
So the police must know that, right?
Probably. Yeah. I would think
maybe no one knows what was in it except for Molly. So
yeah.
But it would be standard.
Is it standard? Is it something that the other lifeguards all shared?
Yeah, probably.
I don't know. I would think so. I don't think she provided it herself. I think it was sort of part and parcel of it coming with the job, as far as, the whistle and the first aid kit. And because these are all things that you would expect a lifeguard to have too.
Right.
A means of communication, the first aid kit, just in case something happened. And what kind of first aid kit are we looking at? Is it just the Band-Aids and the Neosporin and, alcohol wipes, or is it a bigger first aid kit?
Right. What about the ATV angle? Is it possible that somebody who was really comfortable in an ATV, like a hunter, could knock Molly out and then put her on the back of the ATV? That's
something that occurred to me when I was out there. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how probable it is. But that's something that's always kind of itched at the back of my mind. And also because of where her remains were eventually found, which wasn't until 3 years later, and it wasn't everything. They only found some bones and a piece of her bathing suit, a lock of hair, and her tongue ring. So, and that was found on Whiskey Hill, which is rife with ATV trails, hunting trails. I mean, if you're familiar with those woods, if you're familiar with that area, I'm willing to bet that you could get from Coman's Pond over to Whiskey Hill without traveling on a main road longer than to cross it. So if you're driving a vehicle like an ATV that can be off the main road, you do have to cross the main drag there because Whiskey Hill is on the other side, but you would only have to cross it once. And if you could stay on those trails.
What do you think, Margaret? Do you think, I mean, it just doesn't seem likely to me that somebody would risk trying to take a body or someone unconscious or someone even alive, but a prisoner, all the way to that parking lot or to the cemetery. They both seem too risky to me. So I kind of wonder about this ATV angle. What do you think, Margaret?
Well, I think it sounds very risky as well, but now I'm beginning to wonder, with all those ATV trails at the other area, Whiskey Hill area, that seems interesting. I don't know. You would, unless he had some sort of weapon, like he's a hunter. Maybe he had a gun. Maybe he had a license to carry, and he had a small gun, and she was so scared that she kept her mouth shut. Of course, that's the worst thing you can do. Well, I think knocking her out would make it harder to ride an ATV with a girl who's knocked out in the back of it, and then not be seen. To me, that sounds. But it's either he put her. I don't know. I mean, don't you think? I think the ATV angle kind of falls apart there, unless he had a weapon, then it's very possible.
Right.
Yeah.
How tall was Molly? What was Molly's weight and height?
What was? Hold on. I have her missing poster up right here, so I can tell you. 5'7", 125 pounds. So she wasn't. She wasn't tiny. She was an average size woman.
Right.
I mean, she was 16, but like that's average height weight for, you
And
know,
that definitely makes it harder for her to
yeah,
be carried as dead weight on an ATV or something. Yeah.
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 And add to that too, another aspect of this that you have to remember is that she was barefoot. Her shoes were found under her chair. So if
Mhm.
she's following somebody who said, "Oh, my wife or my kid or someone's
She
hurt,
would have put on her
need
shoes. Good
help."
point. Yeah.
Maybe not. Maybe
I mean, if
not.
she's in a rush, she's
Because
not gonna.
no,
Right?
like
Yeah.
what if
Like,
somebody said, "Oh my God, my maybe they were my little grandson cut his foot really bad. I need you to come quickly. It's
like,
really
come
bleeding bad.
now. Yeah,
Come now." Then she wouldn't put on her shoes.
right.
I guess it depends on how used to you are running around barefoot, because that looked like fairly rough terrain, some of that there.
Yeah.
And if you put on shoes, you're going to get through it faster. But
Yep.
if you're
But she
if you're
only
used
had
to running
sandals.
around, if you have tough feet and you're used to running around, me, I have soft. It would take me a long time to get to the parking lot if I had to go barefoot there.
I
But
would rather
Yeah.
go barefoot every day. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
It's hard
for
to
me
say.
personally, I could do it, but
Yeah.
I mean, you do have to take that fact into account. She wasn't
Right.
Yeah, that's a big fact
Yeah.
Yep.
right
Definitely.
there.
So essentially, you know, we're looking at 3 hours later now, right? It's
Right.
1:00.
Yeah.
Her family was informed that Molly's missing, and you know, obviously they rushed down there, and you know, we've got first responders from Warren, but first responders from nearby towns as well to assist. And no normal crime scene protocols were followed. The scene was never secured. It was almost completely destroyed, like I said, by people walking all over it, people rifling through things. And to me, honestly, this speaks very loudly about the police's initial theory on this, was that this wasn't a criminal investigation. There wasn't
Right.
anything untoward. They assumed that Molly was a stereotypical teenager and she just left and went off with her friends.
Wow. Wow.
And they operated under that assumption for
That's unbelievable. For how long?
longer than they should have, I think.
Oh my! Was it days, weeks, months,
No. Just in the
hours?
early couple hours,
Okay.
yeah. But
Right,
that, I
right.
mean, you're talking a couple hours here, like,
Yeah, it's a lot.
Right.
and then
Yep. Time is everything.
a little
She could have still been
secondary
alive.
theory
So
early
yeah.
on too was that she drowned. Now this
Right.
girl is a lifeguard. She knows how to swim. One would think, but her family insists to the police she's a really strong swimmer. She's a lifeguard. She knows how to swim. And the Warren Fire Department refused to rule drowning out until they had somebody check. So time was
Right.
wasted there too. But Molly's family actually tried to discount that theory also by saying her shoes are here. That pond
Right.
is disgusting. We know our daughter. We know our sister. She wouldn't have gone into that water without shoes on.
Right.
She
That's
wouldn't
true.
have. It's gross. And that's how I almost fell in that pond, actually. I was trying to get a look at the water to see what the bottom looked like whether it's silt or sand or whatever. It's disgusting. Like, I would not put my feet in that water. It's gross. There's dead leaves. There's no telling how deep it is if you put your foot in, because the bottom could just fall out from under you.
All
Kind of
right.
like
So
it
let's
did
go
that
into unless there's something else that we haven't skipped over. Let's go into the circumstances of how the body was found.
Yeah,
And
I
how
mean,
long
there's not
later,
a whole
and-
heck of a lot to tell there. There was a hunter who was walking in Whiskey Hill who located a piece of Molly's bathing suit.
But he was
His
looking
name is
for her,
Eric.
wasn't he?
No, he
wasn't? Okay.
came across it while walking in the woods.
Wasn't there someone else that had been looking in that area for her? There was some story on that you were telling me a couple years ago. Someone that was, I don't know if he was hired by the family or initially took on the job.
Oh no, the PI.
Yeah, the private investigator.
Yeah, there was a PI that worked, quote unquote, with the family for a while. Like, it turned out that she did a lot of grifting, and it turned out that her intentions weren't what they should have been.
Okay.
But allegedly she recovered some clothing from a different area on Whiskey Hill, which was actually on the other side near the Sportsman's Club.
And did the clothing belong to Molly?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what do you think?
I don't know what items of
that's
clothing
unusual.
it was,
That's
but
that's
That
that's
is
very
weird.
unusual. Yeah.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know, because I'm not sure if I fully believe it. The only source that I have of that information is this PI's book that came out not long afterwards. And I don't know. There's been a lot of allegations made by other people about her intentions and about what she was looking to do, and etc. Like, I don't know her personally. I don't know anything about the veracity of anything that was written in that book. So I just discounted it, because if I can't verify that a source is right, I'm not going to use it.
But to turn up with actual clothing,
as far as I can understand it, yeah.
I mean, that's more than just somebody having a private investigator having a theory. You're talking about someone who actually had evidence, who had clothing. That's just
yeah.
That's weird. Something
weird.
has to explain that. Something has to.
Yeah.
If that. So were you able to? What did Molly's sister say about that? About the clothing or anything like that? Did she have anything to say on that?
No. Because
really
I don't
strange.
think we ever really had a full conversation with regard to that, because of the lateness of finding that information, as opposed to writing this episode up a couple of years ago and talking to her about it. All the fact checking that she did was prior to me reading that book, so I don't know. I haven't spoken to her.
Maybe you can reach out to her and see if she'd come on the show with you and talk about some of this stuff.
Because I'm dying to know. I've heard some things, and I don't know what's true. So I would love to ask her about it. So.
That sounds really unusual.
Okay.
So
weird.
So that's why I thought there was more to the story about how the body was found, because I remember you talking about this private investigator, and I think, did you go visit the hunting lodge too, from where that hunter came from?
I did. Yeah, they were nice there. A little standoffish, and it's kind of, what you would think.
Understandably,
a sportsman's club is. You a chick walk in off the street, and they're like, especially a 40-year-old with dreadlocks walking in there, like, okay, who's this chick? But they had no problem with me being there. They had no problem with me parking there. They were cordial.
Maui just brought up a good thing too. We've skipped over is the white car. I think the white.
I'll get
to the white car. I promise.
Okay.
I promise. When I go through suspect information, I'll talk about.
Okay. All right.
A lot has been made of that, but
should I pull up the suspect slide, or?
Let me just get through the recovery.
You let me know. Let me know. Okay.
So it was May of 2003. A hunter named Derek Boudreau came across something out of place while walking through the woods on the Whiskey Hill. And this is a few miles away from Coman's Pond. He was asked by a former police officer, who had been asked not to name, whether he'd seen or heard anything unusual in the woods. Derek told him he found pieces of a blue bathing suit in the woods. So he was asked to show where he saw it, where he found it. The police are called. They're informed of the discovery, and it comes to light. Basically, we've got obviously they take the bathing suit and send it off to the FBI for testing, even though the FBI was never actually involved in Molly's case. But the DNA results came back on the bathing suit, and it was confirmed it was Molly's. So the police kept searching the initial area of where the bathing suit was discovered. They did a huge shoulder-to-shoulder grid search of the entire area, and they found 26 bones.
Mhm.
And one of those was her skull, so they were able to confirm dental records, and a lock of hair and her tongue ring. And that was all that was found. But there was, from what I understand from the reporting I was able to find about the recovery, there is indication that the bones were found away from where she was initially left in the woods.
Because of
There were
animals,
scratches
maybe?
on the bones, yeah, from animal activity. So
Mhm.
yeah. So I mean, the police, it was almost 3 years, Maui. So she was abducted on June 27th of 2000, and her remains were found in early June of 2003. So
Did you go to Brimfield and visit the location where the remains were found, or did you just go to
where
Warren?
Holly's remains were found?
No, Molly. Did you go to visit where I'm not Brimfield. I mean, did you visit in Warren where Molly's?
Whiskey Hill, yeah.
Yeah.
I went up there.
Okay.
There's no information anywhere as to exactly the position, so unfortunately, I'm not able to,
Okay.
pinpoint exactly. But that memorial that you had up a few minutes
Yeah.
ago is
Okay.
on the side of the road at the on Whiskey Hill. So there is a roadside memorial that her family put up. That one.
Oh, that one
Okay. Yeah, it's
right there.
they don't get a real wide shot of it here, but
Yeah.
to see the location.
So it does it like they give 6/9/2003. I think that was the day that most everything that was found was completed.
Right.
So it was within a week of June 3rd, 2003.
How difficult of an area was it to reach?
Really difficult, Kev. Like really difficult. So that road, there's one road that goes through that area. And the Sportsman's Club is right off of it. So I was going to just pull over and walk, but there is no shoulder. And so I parked at the Sportsman's Club and crossed the road. I mean, the speed limit is non-existent. They're like non-existent. So people come hauling ass up and down that road. So it's kind of scary. And then when you get over to the side where this roadside memorial actually is, it's really weird. Like a lot of the spots where you could go into the woods, you actually have to go down to go up. So there's like a little culvert on the side of the road. So it was a little difficult to navigate. I did get over there. I did get into the woods, and I did climb the hill a little bit. But there's again, it's not easy to get up. So that's another thing that's always really bothered me about this, because I mean, it's one thing to abduct someone in a car. It's absolutely another to dump a body.
Yeah.
Right.
We're talking about not only finding a place to leave that car. I mean, I'm sure there's access roads that, hunters and people who frequent that area are familiar with. I didn't see any. I had no way of knowing if there were any up there. There's now a motorsports park up there, a little further up the road, but from what I can understand, before that went up, there was a lot more trails and things over on that side of the road. But you're still talking about a 5'7", 125 pound human body that you have to either drag up this hill.
Yeah.
I'm not talking like a hill. I'm talking a hill, and it's rocks. It's all rocks. Boulders.
Were they able to?
Rocks.
Were they able to ever? I mean, this would have been hard, especially with the wildlife, with the bones and stuff. But were they ever able to determine anything from the bones or the clothing?
Not that I'm aware of. No, I mean they may be withholding that information too.
Right.
Because technically it is still an open case.
Right.
So obviously my FOIA request was denied, but I
See,
don't have any information about that. No.
one
So-
misconception that a lot of people have is that, so for example, let's say the killer never molested Molly sexually in any way.
Mhm.
That doesn't mean that his motive was not sexual, because for these people, killing is a sexual act.
Yeah.
For these people that's for a lot of these people, that's sex for them. Even for Ted Bundy, that was sex for him. He may
Yeah.
do something sexual as after the fact, but that was almost secondary. That the killing was the main sexual act.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, Margaret, you were going to say something?
Well, yeah, and the same thing for Koberger. He didn't have sex. Maybe he didn't have a
Right.
chance, but that's what they were saying.
Right.
Actually, Jen mentioned that,
Right.
Koppenbecker. So what I was going to say is, given the location, since you were there, Aaron, is it possible that somebody could have dumped the body more towards the road, like like dragged it in a little way, and then the animals could have dragged the rest of the pieces up the hill and away from the road?
It's entirely possible. I mean, I have no idea what kind of animals even. So, and
Right.
how far off the road we're talking. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, you might drag one or two pieces up, but if they were all dragged up into one general area, that would tend to imply that that's where she was left.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, be surprised what an animal can do. Like,
Right.
It's early
and what
spring.
kind of animal,
Okay.
you know?
Well, it's springtime. They're feeding young. It could be a coyote feeding young. I mean, I
Right.
hate to think of
Right.
it like that, but
Right.
it's possible. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, you
But
need an expert in that
Yeah.
kind of thing
Yeah.
to study it. Okay, please go on, Aaron. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, this is good because I don't want to
Yeah.
just be talking myself this whole time. It's good.
Yeah.
So that is for the most part everything. I mean, as far as the recovery, there's not a lot of information about where. Go back to, if you would. Yeah, right there.
Okay.
That is a picture looking up Whiskey Hill from the memorial.
Oh, okay. That's what I was wondering if that was. So some bones are found at the top of the hill there.
Yeah. I don't know how far up.
Right.
Yeah.
No idea. But that, if you're standing at that roadside memorial and looking up the hill, that is what that picture is.
Right.
So it's
okay.
really hard to walk up. I was not wearing the proper footwear for it. If I had been wearing my hiking boots, maybe I would have been more comfortable, but I didn't go very far up.
And if you were going to drop a body, you'd be in the woods and you wanted to take it off the path, you'd be more likely to take it down.
Yeah, you would think. And I don't know where down is from there. I mean, it goes up pretty far. I don't know if it flattens out at the top. I didn't get far enough.
What about on the other side of the path? Wouldn't that be down or no?
No, oh, you mean the road is on the other side.
Yeah.
This is this is just looking up from the street that goes over Whiskey Hill.
Right.
And if you look at it on Google Maps, it's just forest. There's not much to see.
But a hunter would know it.
Yeah, exactly. And if there were,
I wonder about that.
access roads or trails or something like that, people familiar with the area who would frequent it for hunting, they would know these things.
Right. Or even not to besmirch the hunters, even just an avid ATV person. A lot of people love to just take their ATVs out and go along the trails. So
like really anyone familiar with the area, intimately familiar with the woods there.
An outdoorsy kind of person.
A good idea of how to get around. Yeah.
Someone that's either a local or has lived there enough or spent time there for whatever reason enough to be kind of like a local and that they know the area very well.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
So I don't know if you want to go into the white car.
Yeah, I'd love to. That's why I'm very interested in the white car.
That's
the
big thing, the white car. So the day before Molly's disappearance, this was the 26th of June in 2000, her mom, Maggie, drove her to her shift. They got there around 10 in the morning. And Maggie noticed a white Chrysler sedan in the parking lot when they arrived. And I wish I had given a little bit better of an impression of the parking lot in that footage, but it's essentially wide enough for like 4 or 5 cars, and that's it. So
Okay.
for her to take note of this car and to make eye contact with this guy, he's right there. There's no
Right.
across the parking lot. There's no.
And she always drops Molly off, so probably most days there's nobody there. So it struck her unusual that there was somebody sitting there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And immediately, while Molly was taking her stuff out of the car, Maggie's, looking and notices this guy behind the wheel of this white car watching Molly very intently while smoking a cigarette.
Mm.
So Maggie said she got a bad feeling from this guy. So she walked Molly up the path to the beach and make sure, she gets her chair and her stuff all settled in. And when Maggie got back to her car in the parking lot, she saw that this dude was still sitting there and that at this point he was glaring at her. So she also said that the way that he held his cigarette was very weird. I was a smoker for a lot of years. Honestly, it's not weird to me. But she said that he was smoking his cigarette with straight fingers. So just, which is apparently something that's not super common for guys. And I don't know that I've ever taken note of that. So that always kind of stood out to me. The amount of detail that her mom was able to retain about this guy, down to the way his fingers were positioned.
Right. And down to the fact that it was a Chrysler. She remembered the model of the car. That's
So she said that stood out to her, and she was so concerned and put off by this guy's presence that she stalled leaving until he was gone.
So he left.
Drive away. So he did.
Well, that was the day before. That was the day before, right? Yeah.
Oh, it was the day before, not the day of.
Right. Right.
And there's multiple accounts of people seeing a white car. So if you go up Comins Pond Road to the end, it's a T-junction at the end of that road, and there's a car wash across the street. There was one person, I believe someone walking their dog, said they saw a white sedan at that car wash around the same time in the morning, the same day that Molly disappeared. And one of the groundskeepers at the cemetery actually reported seeing a white car. He didn't say what kind of car, because he saw it from up on top of that hill that I was talking about.
Right.
And that we saw in the footage. He only looked at the car from above, so he didn't really get a good look at what type of car it was. He just said white car.
Right.
And there's you can find some more information about what he had to say. I can't remember the woman's last name, but her name is Lori. She writes for Medium. And she did a pretty decent write-up about Molly's case a couple years back. So if you want to check that out, I can find a link and send it to you. So the first picture here is the composite sketch that was created from Maggie's description of the cigarette smoking guy in the white car. There's actually 2 pictures that were on the
it looks like Stalin.
He does. He looks. It's a very strange picture. The second part of that sketch is actually a picture of the same guy holding a cigarette in front of his mouth with straight fingers.
Okay. All right.
So that's the famous sketch that Maggie helped create of the guy in the car. In the white car in the parking lot. But these 3 handsome gentlemen right next door are from left to right. I believe Gerald, I'm going to butcher the crap out of this guy's name. Not that it matters, but his name is Gerald Battistoni. This guy in the middle is Rodney Stanger, I believe he's Stanger. And then the guy on the end is Frank Sumner. Yes, Stanger is actually, nope, it's reversed. So the guy in the middle is Frank Sumner, and the guy in the end is Rodney Stanger. So these guys are the three people of interest. The only one that was actually named as a suspect was Frank Sumner, who's the guy in the middle there with the
He was named as a suspect. Okay,
yeah.
interesting.
Posthumously, he was. Yeah. He actually passed away. All three do have some resemblance to the sketch. All three are real bad guys. So there's a lot to be said about all of them. But Frank Sumner is the only suspect linked to the case. And he wasn't named a suspect until, I believe, 2021. So this was, yeah. So actually, Hank's broken pencil, the dude on the right is the only one who's still alive. That's Rodney Stanger. He's serving time in prison in Florida for the attempted murder of his girlfriend, I believe since like 2008 or something like that. I'm trying to remember. 2008 for the murder of his girlfriend. So I can take you through each one if you like.
Yeah, let's I want to hear why each one of these guys actually is on this list.
Sure. I'm going to go from Stanger backwards on this, actually, because he's the only one who's still alive. So Rodney Stanger is currently serving a 25-year sentence for the murder of his girlfriend, Crystal Morrison, in 2008. So he's obviously living in Florida at the time of Crystal's death, but back at the time of Molly's disappearance, he was actually living in Warren and Southbridge, Massachusetts. So in the area, he abruptly moved to Florida not long after that composite sketch was released to the public.
Interesting.
And there are a lot of little things about him that people, have reported over the years, but, basically he apparently told a longtime friend he was moving to Florida to run from the police. He'd just paid off his house. He'd just renewed his firearms license at the time and just abruptly up and left.
So there was a change. There was a sudden change. That's intriguing.
So Crystal Morrison, he murdered her in their trailer in Summerfield, Florida in 2008. It was brutal. He stabbed her more than 30 times and nearly decapitated her. So and just a few days before her murder, she actually talked to her sister, who still lived in Massachusetts, asking for the phone number for the FBI. And she was implying that Stanger had something to do with the Molly Bish case. Yeah. After her murder, her sister visited the trailer to collect some of her belongings, and she found Stanger's wallet, which contained an old photo of him, which looked remarkably like the composite sketch.
I can even see it now if you really look closely and imagine those little tufts of hair aren't quite there. Yeah. But the mustache is there. It's hard to get the angle on the nose is very different, but I could see it.
If he was facing a little bit to the side, I think I would feel a little more confident about it. The sketch is much fuller in the face, but he was 8 years younger at the time the sketch came out. So, I mean, this is his mugshot photo. So this was when he was taken in 2008. And also, Bonnie, Crystal's sister, found kids' things in the trailer. Lots of kids' things, hair ties that were obviously made for little girls. And Stanger and Crystal Morrison did not have kids. And he also had access to a white car.
So suggesting he may have been involved in other cases.
Yeah.
Right.
From what I understand, from what the sisters had to say about secondhand, what Crystal Morrison had to say, he was kind of a sick guy.
Well, what was, just quick question, when you say he had access to a white car, what does that mean?
Oh, I'm getting into that.
Okay.
His brother Randy owned a white car similar to what was described in on the missing poster and the composite sketch information. I don't know the model. I don't know the make. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to find that information. But he did have access to his brother Randy's white sedan during the summer of 2000 in that area, in the Warren, Southborough area. He was also an avid outdoorsman. He did fish in Coman's Pond.
Okay.
He was a hunter who was familiar with the woods of Palmer.
And he did
it. It's safe to say he knew and was pretty comfortable with the area. There's no link physically between Stanger and Molly's case, though. We don't have anything. We have no DNA. We have nothing, no physical evidence, just a lot of circumstances that look really, really bad. And a brutal murder on his record. So, okay. And Frank Sumner, who's this middle guy with the dark hair, he's the only actual suspect in the case.
Looks kind of like Tom CPU.
I think he looks a lot more, he looks the most like that composite sketch of all three of those guys.
It's the hair. It's the hair.
Yeah.
The hair,
Yeah.
And the nose.
Yeah.
And the nose, maybe from a side profile.
Yeah. So he's the only one who was actually labeled a suspect. In 2021, Worcester County DA Joe Early said they had new information linking Sumner to Molly's case. Don't know what it is.
Yeah,
no
they
idea.
never tell you.
But I did find out later in 2021 they were actually, or it was later on after he was named, they were able to rule him out. The DNA evidence that they found did not match him. So unfortunately, he's ruled out as far as what they were able to find.
He's dead. Did you say he was dead now too?
He's dead. Yep.
Okay.
He died of natural causes in 2016. But he was no angel either. He was a sex offender from Spencer, which is about 25 miles away from Warren. So again, still in that southern area. It's actually closer to the Brookfields than the Sturbridge area, but right around that same area. He owned several auto repair shops and had a habit of taking his customers' cars out for drives. So he certainly had access to a white car, although we don't know whose or what kind.
Right. No way of knowing that. Yeah.
He was a smoker. He held his cigarettes the same effeminate way Maggie described the mustache man in this composite. He was convicted of the aggravated rape and kidnapping of a 21-year-old woman in 1981. She brought her car to his auto shop for repair, and once it was finished, he lured her to a nearby apartment that he had for rent under the guise of renting it to her. She claims she agreed to see the apartment for a friend, and Sumner had offered to pay her to clean it before it was rented out. Once they were there, he locked her in a room and threatened her by saying, "Give it to me or I will kill you."
Which does at least tell us he's someone that was accustomed to using tricks to lure people.
Yeah.
So that was that kind of clicks there too. And Sumner was released on parole in 1998. So he was out of prison when Molly disappeared. He did die of natural causes in 2016 and was cremated. So I don't have any further information other than he was ruled out based on physical evidence that was gathered.
Right.
So,
right.
But this guy, this bastard that's next to the composite, that's Gerald Battistoni. And he is a bad man. He was initially brought to the attention of the powers that be in this case by a PI named Dan Malley back in 2011. Dan Malley was hired to work on a child custody case unrelated to Molly Bish's case, but involving Gerald Battistoni. And in the course of this investigation, Dan Malley found out that Battistoni had repeatedly raped the daughter of his girlfriend at the time at least 100 times over the period of about a year in the early 1990s. The girl was 13.
Oh my God.
Yeah. The victim lived with her mother near Coleman's Pond in Warren. And at the time, Battistoni, with the help of Dan Malley and what he found out, Battistoni was charged and convicted of 4 counts of rape and abuse of a child and sentenced to 10 to 12 years in prison in August of 2011. Now, there's a lot of weird things that connect Battistoni not only to Molly's case, but also to Holly Piernan's case. An ex-girlfriend, he's got, by the way, a bevy of ex-girlfriends and ex-wives that have restraining orders against him. I mean, he's deceased now, but every woman that he was ever involved in, you can trace all his relationships ending with restraining orders. Like, the guy was a bad dude. An ex-girlfriend told authorities that Battistoni, who was a drug addict, used to use Whiskey Hill as a cut-through when meeting his dealer. So that means that he was
his dealer. So that also makes the dealer kind of a potential suspect here too. Why is a dealer using Whiskey Hill?
Yeah.
No, he'd use that road. He would cut through there because his dealer was in Palmer.
Okay. Right. Okay.
The day of Molly's disappearance, Battistoni had actually fixed his second wife's car, which was a white Chevy. And after fixing the car, Battistoni said he was taking it for a spin. And his ex-wife says that is completely out of character for him. And also Battistoni smoked the same way. So apparently it's not as uncommon as a lot of people were saying it was, but he did the same straight-fingered smoking and shaved his thick mustache not long after Molly went missing. The Palmer police.
He has the thick hair too.
He has the eyes too.
Yeah.
I think the eyes.
Yeah. Yeah.
The nose, not so much.
No, and it's hard to tell here. The nose mouth area, it's kind of hard to tell because of the mustache in one. And I wish we had a picture of him with the mustache, but I'm not able to find one.
And we have to remember it's a composite. So it's going to be imperfect. It's somebody's imperfect memory.
Yeah, that's true.
Another big red flag for him is he was actually a CI for a regional law enforcement drug task force. So he had a history of impersonating police officers. And her family, Molly's family, has said that she was very shy around authority and presumably would have demurred to a cop. So if Battistoni went down there and said, "I'm the police, I need you to come with me," or "We need your help, I'm a cop, I need you to come help me," she would have listened and she would have gone willingly. Right. Because authority figured she
but I think she would have put her shoes on, but go ahead.
Right? Same. I don't know Hank's broken pencil. I'm not sure which cops he worked with. The only information I was able to find was a regional law enforcement drug task force. That's it.
Right.
That's fascinating, actually. And that's similarity. That's BTK. Like that's the way he was too. You know.
Yeah.
Oh God.
There's links all over.
Links all over to these serial.
What was the connection to Holly?
From what I understand, he was he spent a lot of time in the same area as where Holly went missing from as well. And there was another link to Holly's case. I don't have it written down, so I apologize, but it was something to do with his former allegations of sexual assault, I believe.
Right.
And I think the
Okay.
target age of his victims was on the younger side. Molly was a little bit older than the victim in the rape case that he was convicted for.
Right.
Because again, she was 13, but
Right.
It's 3 years.
I mean,
Not
that's 3 years
It's
on
right,
one
right in
side
the middle
and 3 years
between.
on the other.
Yeah,
So,
right in the middle between 10 and 16. Yeah.
right. So I guess there's no direct physical link between Battistoni and Molly Bish's case, but the day after Dan Malley's findings and the day after all of what I just told you came out in the papers, Battistoni tried to kill himself in prison.
Ooh,
Interesting.
that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So,
He
Margaret, what do you think?
actually died of illness in
Door
prison
number
too.
one?
My
Margaret, what do you
God.
think? Door number 1, 2, or 3?
Well, you know what's interesting? When Aaron described the first guy, I said, "Oh yeah, he definitely did it." Then Aaron moved
Right.
down to the second guy. I'm like, "Oh no, he
No.
did it. Yeah, definitely." And now the third guy, I'm thinking he did. I can't decide.
No.
But it's surprising that there's no DNA in evidence. I guess there must not that would link any of these guys. I mean, they seem like such solid suspects to me.
Yeah.
I lean pretty
fascinating.
strongly towards door number 3.
Me too.
The fact that this guy just up and moved when he didn't see it, when he obviously wasn't planning to, and then it does sound like there was some strange things that he had said to his wife, and she was going to go to the FBI. I don't know. There was those two things there kind of add up to a lot to me.
Yeah.
You're right,
And
Kevin.
lived in the. I know, but you're right though. That's I knew when I was listening to door number 3, I was like, I bet door number 1 and 2 are going to be pretty good too, because that's how it usually works out with these cases.
Yeah.
Yeah. Personally, I like Battistoni for it. Everything that I've read about him, everything I've been able to find out, it's just more and more depraved and awful. And he is like he's apparently I'll say was because he did pass away, but he was a bad guy, and he just had no trouble treating women and younger women, older women like absolute trash. I mean, he abused women, he raped women. I mean,
but he didn't murder. He didn't. There's no evidence he murdered them. That seems a little bit outside his MO, right? So
we have no idea.
Like, he didn't murder the 13-year-old.
Nope.
He raped her. So for him, his conquest was rape, whereas other people have the conquest of murder. And now the guy door number, what is it, Sanger? Is that his name?
The third one.
We know he at least murdered his wife, but that may have been to shut her up. So that was not necessarily the typical motive that what he might normally have. But it sounds like he had a collection of some things that suggest that he may have murdered some other girls along the way.
Exactly.
I don't know. Oh, well, you did a great job, Aaron.
Yeah.
These are really interesting.
I've been looking into this for a really, really long time. And I did want to say like one other thing about the Bish family too. Especially Heather, since she was so kind, fact-checking all my information. They started the Molly Bish Foundation not long after Molly went missing. They partnered with Anna Maria College to provide training, events, and ID kits to support families and address the issue of missing person response and training for law enforcement. The training is very important, especially considering all the time lost with bogus theories about Molly just walking away. The Bish family worked tirelessly to bring the Amber Alert system to Massachusetts. They were one of the driving being brought to Massachusetts. And they continue to strive for legislative change on both missing person response and familial DNA analysis. So they've done a lot of positive work in Molly's name. And I mean, it's been 25 years and they're still doing everything they can.
That's the best way to that's the best way to remember your loved one, is to try to prevent the next person from the next kid from being a victim.
Yeah, and just take take this tragedy and turn it into positive change going
Right.
forward.
Right.
And just anecdotally, just really fast, the day that I went to Warren, the day that I took all those pictures and took all that video, a little boy had gone missing from his backyard. Not in Warren, in, oh Jesus, I want to say it was Brimfield. It was one of the
Okay.
small towns I drove through on my way to Warren.
Yeah.
And I have footage of the response. It was amazing. I've never seen anything like it. There were 5 helicopters circling. I was standing at Coman's Pond filming these helicopters just circling. I mean, the kid was found within, a couple hours. He had just kind of
Actually,
wandered off.
I was
But-
going through the videos that you
Thank
had
God.
today, and
Yeah,
you can
that's
hear
what
the
those helicopters
you
were.
you can hear the helicopter in it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I actually drove by the house he went missing from on my way to Coman's Pond. And it was, I mean, you could barely get down the road. It was fire departments, forest response,
Right.
ATVs, giant trucks, guys on foot. I mean, every kind of emergency response you could think of, they lined that road at front to back. And the response was amazing. I've never, ever seen a response like that. And I don't know how long it had been, but it couldn't have
Right.
been long because they were still pulling up when I got there. So
Does the fire department have ATVs that are specially equipped in order to carry an injured person out?
I assume so. Yeah, there's a lot of like forestry equipped trucks down there. So I don't know.
I think you know where I'm going with that.
Belong to the fire department or not, but
Right. I think you know
they-
where I'm going with that, where there are special
Yep.
types of ATVs that could be used to carry things out. All right.
Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, I mean, someone obviously knows something. I mean, there has to be something, right? There
Okay.
has to be.
All right.
Someone has to know something. So if you have tips, there is a tip line that you can call. You can reach out to the Warren Police, the Worcester DA, the Bish Family Foundation, anything. Just
Right.
talk, please.
Right.
Her
Yeah.
family needs
Yeah.
to know
Please,
what
if you think you have any kind of, that's why we do this program.
happened. Mhm.
Cold cases are never solved are very rarely solved without the actual tips that come in from the public. So if you have something that, don't feel bad that you've sat on it all these years, because you
No.
may have had good reason to believe that it was meaningless. And now that you've had time to see more, you realize maybe it was actually meaningful. So reach out to the proper authorities. I'm sure you can find it if you just Google it. And you're always welcome to reach out to us, to either me or Margaret, and we'll get it to those authorities too.
Definitely.
So please do. And we'll be live on the air every night at 8:00, Monday through Friday. So reach out to us anytime. And again, thank you very much, Erin. You did an outstanding job investigating
Yeah.
this, and maybe you'll be able to find a little bit more, or talk to Heather and see if she wants to come on with you.
Yeah,
And,
I'd love to do that.
And do you want to talk about Kohlberger, Margaret, or do you want to save it till Thursday?
If you guys push it off again, you're going to get yelled
Well,
at.
I'm not going to be the one that's responsible for pushing it off again. What do you think? It's not that long. I can just update quickly. Or
Well,
Kevin, do you want to wait? We can wait.
I think we should wait till Thursday, and I'll take the blame for it, just because it's already almost night. It's already almost 9:30.
Okay.
And
Actually-
I'm sorry.
because I have about 5 different articles on new stuff on Kohlberg. So and then we also have the body cam video. So we could.
But I
So
have
we
to tell you,
we need. Oh, go ahead.
I'm going giant tuna fishing on Thursday.
Oh, okay. Well-
but I'll give you all the information I dug up.
No, we can wait till you come back. That's all right.
No, then now everybody's going to be really mad at me. I hope I come back with a picture of a big fish.
Well, we can try to save the tuna by getting you to
with
stay
the
off the
tuna?
boat, but
Nope.
gonna need a smaller boat.
No, it's the season, so
Mhm.
and it's very weather dependent. So Thursday looks like the day.
When you
That
said
means-
when you started out saying I was going hunting giant, and then you said you hesitated and you said tuna, I was like, oh, she's going to hunt giants. Well, we'll have to start a new channel.
Yeah, exactly. That would be interesting. Probably the first one.
I'll work on a
Giant-
Sasquatch episode with you.
This is funny.
All right.
No, you did, Erin.
So-
thank you so much. You did a
Thank
fabulous
you.
job.
Thank you
Fascinating.
for having me. I appreciate it.
God, yeah.
Okay.
really
And
All
it's
right.
always good to
thank
see you, Kev. You're looking good.
Thank you, Aaron. Thank you,
Yeah.
Aaron. And you did a great job. And I think it was a really interesting show, and I think an important show. So we'll be back with Kohlberger at some point soon. Maybe I'll have Margaret record it.
Yeah, I could do that.
Or
I'll
maybe
make
if
it
you want,
short.
if you're not busy, maybe you can come on a few minutes with us tomorrow night. So with me and
Yeah,
Jen.
actually,
So
I could.
tomorrow I'll be on with Jen
Actually.
Coffenaffer, and you're welcome to join us. We'll be discussing the Summer Wells case again.
Okay, maybe I can,
Um,
and then I'll push off Kohlberger again. I'll do it. You know?
And I think Jen has been covering that case extensively too.
Yeah,
So she'll
that's
be
true.
she'll probably be
Yeah.
interested to talk about some of these things. So all
Yeah.
right. So why don't we?
All right.
Well, we're not promising, but we're going to try to get Kohlberger in tomorrow.
Yeah,
Everybody,
we're gonna push
And
off
the way-
Kohlberger again.
and the way it's been going, there'll be something new that comes out because they've just been
Yeah.
releasing all this evidence. So
Yeah.
there should be something new out tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right, so let's end it here. Again, thank you very much, everybody, for being here. Thank you,
Yes.
Margaret, and Aaron.
So
Thank you
fun.
so much. You did a great
Thanks,
job
Mark.
tonight.
Yeah.
And
Margaret.
we'll
Yes,
every
nice
night,
meeting
Monday
you
through
too.
Friday, 8 o'clock.